Now, the Duval Rundown, driven by Jacksonville Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram Westside, home of the lifetime warranty.
Good morning. Welcome to another edition of Duval Rundown. I'm Hayes Carline. Please be joined with Rick Ballou. Rick, kind enough to make a little switch for us. Normally our Friday guest hops in on Monday to talk about an incredible victory over the San Francisco 49ers yesterday in Santa Clara. Rick, lots to get to in this game, but before we get into the minutia of it, what a gigantic win for the Jacksonville Jaguars. What does this do for this fledgling new vision of Jaguars football, in your opinion?
Well, you erase another demon. And, 2 weeks ago at home, they won a ball game that a year ago they lose. Now you go out to the West Coast, you win a ball game that a year ago they would have lost. And it's crazy to say it that way. You win the takeaway battle 4-0. You think you should win comfortably, but that was anything but a comfortable win yesterday. It was still a game that they did some really good things. They also made some mistakes. I mean, this club's 3-1, one bad call away from being 4-0, and they haven't come close to playing a complete football game. I mean, it's really the same issues, including penalties. The offense was very suspect yesterday. The special teams started off awful. Then all of a sudden, you get the nice return by Tootin. You get the Parker Washington touchdown on a punt. You get a coffin kick by a Pro Bowler in Logan Cook. And it was just one thing after another. So they keep checking boxes, Hayes. They keep doing things that they haven't been able to do, including a year ago. Jaguar fans have to be so excited about this because, again, not only are they 3-1, but they're going to get better. You know that sooner or later they're going to fix these offensive penalties. You know that sooner or later this passing offense is really going to start to take off. It's amazing to me that they've played 4 games and they only have 1 touchdown reception by a wide receiver. Think about that.
It's incredible. It really is amazing. And it all comes back to takeaways. I mean, when you're going to get 3 or 4 a game, to your point, it covers gives you a lot of mulligans to play with. And it's remarkable what Anthony Campanile has done. And not just, but the players as well. Obviously, they deserve a ton of credit. I mean, who could have seen what Devin Lloyd is doing? I mean, if this were to continue, Devin Lloyd would win Defensive Player of the Year. I don't believe it's going to continue, but right. I don't think Devin Lloyd is a first ballot Hall of Famer, which is the numbers that he's putting up so far in September. Right. But it's remarkable what this defense has been able to do. And I will say, and this is a direct result of Campanile and his staff, because we saw it throughout training camp. They attack the ball unlike any defense we've seen since the 2017 special Jacksonville defense.
And I remember going back to Deshae Townsend a few years ago and asking about, can you teach to create turnovers, right? Takeaways. Can you do that? Or is it being in the right place at the right time? And he said, well, it's both, but yes, you absolutely can. And they even did a good job yesterday on television describing I think it was the Aloha when he punched the football. Was it Aloha or was that Lloyd?
Yeah.
I think it was Aloha. And you and I have witnessed it since really the offseason when there was no contact. They spent more time working on taking the football away after only having 8 defensive ones a year ago, a 9th on the special teams. And it's paid off now. I mean, you've gone 3-3-3-4 in 4 straight games, which is just unheard of here in Jacksonville. It's basically unheard of in the National Football League. And, because of the other problems, if you don't get those 4 takeaways yesterday, you may not win that football game. So, if you were to just look at takeaways 4-0, you would think, you won that game comfortably by 17 points, maybe 21 points. That wasn't the case. So Anthony Campanile's defense was absolutely enormous yesterday in this victory for Jacksonville.
What did you make of, we talked about it on Friday, but now that we've seen the game play out and we've seen the post game play out, what's your final thought on the 49ers accusing Liam Cohen and his staff of legally stealing signs?
Well, I don't think it's over. I think something else will come out this week. Again, it's you talk about an oxymoron, man. How do you legally steal? I've never heard anything so bizarre in my life. But the altercation after the game yesterday, I loved it. I mean, to me, that's what this football team is all about. You saw more fight there from Liam Cohen than Doug Peterson showed in 3 years. I mean, you had your franchise quarterback concussed, laying on the ground, and Doug Peterson gave you one of these bad boys and put both his hands in his pocket when everything was happening. Can you imagine if that had happened and Liam Cohen was your coach? Liam Cohen showed everyone that he's going to fight for this football team, and they have been lacking a guy like this for such a long period of time. I mean, he's only been here for a few months, and you can tell he's so fully invested. And he even said it after the game if you got a chance to see his victory speech and everything that went viral. Man, he is in this 110%. I'm not a big fan of advocating coaches going after one another and whatever. It's the players. But in this set of circumstances, get called out the way he did and then respond after the game. I mean, I absolutely loved what we saw.
I think so too. I mean, I think Robert Saleh did Liam Cohen a huge favor because I think it added fuel to the fire. And I talked about this on the kickoff show and on the Frangie show on Friday. So I'm interviewing Tyson Campbell Friday in the locker room. And obviously the sign stealing story broke kind of late Thursday night because it was Saleh meeting with his press, obviously in Pacific time. So Thursday night, the story kind of, is born. Friday, I'm interviewing Tyson Campbell in the locker room, and all of a sudden I hear this commotion, and that's not that's not uncommon, but it sounds like it's Liam Cohen that's shouting. I'm like, is that Liam? And Tyson Campbell is sort of peeking around me to see. You can tell he's like, is that coach? Because obviously, the head coach doesn't go in the locker room all that often. It's, that's sort of the player space. And he was in there revving those guys up. I mean, what you've seen on the digital video where, I can't repeat what was said, but it was, you can imagine what Liam was saying. And the team was, there was such an energy in him, and he didn't stay in there long. It was literally like probably 20 seconds, but it got the message across. And I think it helped galvanize the team. And even in the post game, you've got Walker Little standing up for him, Robert Hainsey, making sure that Liam's good. I think ultimately, Robert Saleh did Liam Cohen and his staff a big favor here.
It's a good point. It is. If you needed any extra motivation, it happened. I'm surprised Saleh said it that close to the game. When he was the linebackers coach here, he said very little. He was under Todd Wash, he was under Gus Bradley, and didn't really know him all too well. But boy, I was surprised that he would go out and give that type of information out that close to the game. And typically when you say something like that, there's some sort of proof, or there's an example, or he would take you down the road and say, well, this happened in this situation, or that happened in that situation. But it was bizarre because it just absolutely came out of nowhere. Now, I don't know if it's happened. I've never heard about it. You and I talked about this on Friday. Forever, you can go through decades and decades and decades of baseball. Stealing signs is one of those unwritten rules that have just phenomenal stories that go back and forth. But in football, it's never really, taken this type of life. So I wonder if anything else comes out of this. Robert Saleh will speak again on Thursday. If I was Robert Saleh, I would shut up on it. And actually, they have a game on Thursday, so he's probably going to speak tomorrow. That would be my guess. I don't know. But
yeah, that's what
you
I would
understand what I'm saying. How do you got yourself involved in such a big situation, but you don't have time to go back and talk about that because you have a divisional game coming up in 3 days. So all of a sudden, San Francisco is really up against it in their division, and they put their own foot in their mouth, so to speak.
Without a doubt, and looking at the Jaguars division, the Colts lose to the Rams yesterday, so the Colts move back to 3-1. The Jaguars gain a game on Indianapolis; they're also 3-1. And then the Texans beat the Titans; they go to 1-3. I still think Houston's over, but we'll see if they can climb back in it. But I don't think beating the Titans rights your ship. And the Titans are one of the worst teams in football, so they're no threat. So as you look at this thing through 4 games, I think the Jaguars are going to be right there with the Colts, if not ahead of them, throughout this race, because I do think the offense is going to click. And I think they knew it was going to take time. I mean, even in Tampa last year, with the great numbers that they ended up putting up at the end of the season, Liam has acknowledged that it took a while. It took into October, before they started to really figure things out and click, particularly in the ground game. The Jaguars have been potent with that all year long. And so you do have to expect that operationally they'll get cleaner. You'd like to think that the passing game will get a little more efficient. So you hope that you're probably not going to get 3-4 takeaways every game the entire season. I mean, they might prove us wrong because they're doing it right now. But at some point, the offense is going to have to take on a little bit larger of a role. But I still think that you're going to see that happen. It's just going to take a little bit of time.
Yeah, and it's amazing because if you look at certain numbers, we brought up the 1 wide receiver touchdown in 4 games. They only had 1 sack yesterday. They only have 7 sacks in 4 games. Yet you lead the NFL in takeaways. Sacks are going to come. Obviously, Trayvon Walker, you hope he's going to be okay. We'll find out later on this week. Hines Allen, again, so close yesterday. Armstead, how many people, and I made a big deal about this during the offseason. It was kind of the forgiveness for Eric Armstead because I said I think that, out of anyone on the team, he's going to have the biggest turnaround this year compared to a year ago. Well, I was wrong. That's Devin Lloyd. There's no doubt. But Eric Armstead made a huge play yesterday with
Absolutely.
The game on the line. So all those people were down on him, and I get why they were down on him.
I was down on him.
What's that?
I was down on him.
Oh yeah, there's no doubt. I mean, I can't remember how many times I said that. Eric Armstead did 2 things here last year. He ate and he went to the bathroom. That was it. But the scheme was terrible. And look at him. He came up huge when you needed it yesterday. Part of that win. But if you just look at wide receiver touchdowns and getting to the quarterback for sacks, those 2 things are going to get better. Those 2 things are going to improve. And again, we're talking about a team that's 1 bad call away from being only one of 3 teams in pro football that is actually 4-0. That's the thing that Jaguar fans have to understand most. This team is finding ways to win games, and they haven't come close, in my opinion, to playing a complete football game. And look at the penalties again yesterday. Look at the first half special teams yesterday. I mean, and then all of a sudden they flipped the switch, and we started at the beginning of the show talking about those 3 special teams plays that were just game-changing plays for Jacksonville. So, I mean, this is going to be such a good time right now for folks here in Duval and Jag fans across the country, knowing that their best football is absolutely still ahead of them.
Absolutely. Jacob Simon's helping us out. We certainly appreciate that. He's the technical brains behind this operation. Jacob, let's hear from our sponsor.
I'm Rick Ballou, Jacksonville Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram Westside, proud partner of the Jaguars. Drive with confidence. Every new vehicle comes with our exclusive lifetime warranty. 7030 Commonwealth Avenue or online at jackswest.com.
Rick, you made a great point about Armstead and Lloyd having just unbelievable years after facing a lot of questions throughout the offseason. There's almost a trinity of those guys because Travis Etienne has gone from a guy that, many of us thought could be an expendable piece, maybe somebody that could get traded. I mean, he's having an unbelievable September. Had another huge game yesterday. He finished with 124 yards, 6.5 yards a carry, and obviously had the long touchdown to generate some early momentum for the Jaguars. My goodness, what a revelation and what a breakout sort of comeback performance so far for ETN. What are your thoughts on that young man?
Yeah, all along I thought that they're both gone. That regardless of what happens this year, you can't bring him back. Now you got to wonder about maybe a franchise tag on Lloyd. I don't think he's the type of guy that would hold out, just knowing him a little bit personally over the years. But then again, I could be totally wrong. ETN has been nothing short of spectacular, but I still think this is it for him. And it's not because of him. It's because of the position. And, just look around the league, man. I mean, Zeke Elliott, Dalvin Cook, Le'Veon Bell, Todd Gurley, just go through it year after year after year. Guys who got big contracts, they never lived up to it. And, all of a sudden you look at guys that look at Barkley a year ago and look at Henry a year ago. They were absolute bell cows, and Henry has throughout his career. Those two running backs right now, both really struggling. I mean, even though they won a Super Bowl and Philadelphia paid them all this money, it's worth it because they already won it. But I'm sure they're right now saying, oh my God, what's going on with Barkley? Is he going to live up now to the remainder of this contract? So I don't see it with ETN here in the future, simply because, he'll be in his mid-20s and he's already gone through one drastic injury. Devin Lloyd is the MVP right now of that side of the football field. And that's really saying something with Jordan Lewis and both guys on the edge and just how well this football team is playing. But, if he continues at this pace, that's going to be a very interesting decision that Jacksonville is going to have to make at the end of the year.
Without a doubt. Let's talk a little bit about Trevor Lawrence in the passing game. What did you make of Trevor's decision-making, and what did you like or not like about the passing game yesterday?
Well, the offensive line did another really good job. They didn't allow a sack. I mean, they've allowed, I think it's 3 sacks now in 4 games. So, they played well there, and that was aided by the fact that they were a balanced attack. They were able to run the football yesterday. I thought his decision-making was decent. There were a couple of plays that, not getting out of bounds late was something a fifth-year quarterback, he tried to sell it. I'll give him that. He tried to. I mean, he was aware of it. He just took it too far.
Yeah, it was like he thought about it a microsecond too late.
I know. See, but boy, I mean,
but that's the league.
There's another example. There's another example for Jaguar fans. When you saw that, they're like, "Here we go again. Here we go." That's it.
How about him throwing a ball inbounds with no timeout? He was damn lucky he was able to clock that.
There's no question. There's absolutely no question. And, there were issues about getting the ball off, almost 2 times in a row. So, but you know what? It felt like it was a better day for him and Thomas Jr. It wasn't perfect. There was one time where he clearly missed them. They weren't on the same page. There was another one where Thomas Jr. didn't get the foot down, where, great wide receivers in this league absolutely get both feet down. Thomas did not, but I thought that was an encouraging day. It felt like it was getting a little bit better. We saw the attempts go up from 2 to 5 to Travis Hunter, which is still not enough in my opinion, but at least it's better than the 2 he got a week ago. And, you find Hunter Long, a guy who came in here with no career touchdowns. He's already got 2 in his career here in Jacksonville in 4 games. So he protected the ball, and he didn't give the ball away. If he gave the ball away yesterday, who knows? It could have been a different story. So I think it was a better Sunday for Trevor Lawrence, but again, nowhere near as good as what I believe he can be.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, I think that, look, the 3rd down conversion to Travis Hunter when you're backed up inside your 10, that was a big league play. It was also an unbelievable catch by Travis Hunter.
Insane.
But, so, and you're right. It was good to see the drops weren't an issue. Trevor was way more efficient throwing it to BTJ. I think it was 5 catches on 7 targets. So that's encouraging. Yeah, I would say that, and to your point, Trevor didn't throw an interception, and he had the longest active streak, throwing one in every game. So it was good for him to get that cleared off of his conscience and not have to be asked about that anymore. So yeah, there were certainly good things. It's the situational football that he still just, to me, is a C- player at best in terms of that stuff. And again, you can get better at that the more you play, and hopefully he will. But there'll certainly be a lot of teachable moments for Liam Cohen and staff with Trevor in terms of situational awareness. And we know that's a key tenet in Liam Cohen's program. So we know they'll be working on that. But yeah, I mean, look, to get a win in San Francisco, to be 3-1, I mean, the city is going to be on fire a week from tonight when the Kansas City Chiefs roll in for Monday Night Football. Rick, we'll get out on this. Just give us a quick early thought on matchups that you like, matchups that you think are dangerous for the Jaguars, and just an early thought on how you think the Jaguars will perform in a game of this magnitude, because they're going to be the talk of the nation this week. We know the nation doesn't like to talk about the Jaguars, but the nation can't ignore the Jaguars this week.
No, the national media is going to hate it. They're going to have to, actually figure out that there's more than just Brian Thomas, Travis Hunter, Lawrence, and both edge guys on this team. They're going to learn about players that they didn't even know were playing here in Duval. Quick note, by the way, it's going to be a zoo down there. My advice to you is to leave Thursday afternoon if you want to get there on time for kickoff at 8 o'clock. But, I did watch the entire game yesterday between, on my other television set, obviously the volume on the Jags. And I'll go back and look at it again, but it felt like classic Kansas City. I mean,
they're finding their rhythm.
Yeah. And, still Jacksonville over the years has always had trouble covering the tight end. They've always had trouble covering, Kelsey. So to me, that's the number one thing. Can you slow down that combination, even though Kelsey's clearly aged? He's not the guy he once was. He's still so savvy. They missed out on a great tight end yesterday in Kittle. They're not going to miss out on a great tight end on Monday night. But this is going to be, I think, a very interesting game, because both teams are dealing with injuries right now. And this is relative as you get to this point in the season. Jacksonville got banged up yesterday. It's going to be I'm glad they have the extra day. That could end up being important for them. But this feels to me like, Hayes, I mean, Kansas City's an early 3-point road favorite. This feels to me like it's going to be a 60-minute football game, a one-possession football game, and it could come down to, a play here late, play there late, or a mistake here late, a mistake there late, ending up being the difference in this game coming up a week from tonight.
Absolutely. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a great week around here to savor this victory over San Francisco, and obviously look forward to a huge game Monday night here in Jacksonville against the Kansas City Chiefs. Rick, once again, man, thanks for switching with us. We really appreciate you stepping in on a Monday for us. Rick normally joins us on Friday, as you guys know, and you can catch him tonight into the night with Rick Ballou. That's going to do it for us. We'll be back on Wednesday with Times Union sports columnist Ryan O'Halloran. Until then, enjoy the victory. Go Jags.